It's still a very, very special edition of the Morning Flight on Love Word Expressions, where we entertain you beyond borders. And of course, we'll be talking about 22 years of democracy in Nigeria so far, the strides, the challenges, the achievements. And two gentlemen have joined us in the studio, Barrister Justice Ogiena, a constitutional lawyer, and of course, Nnamdi Abana, a political analyst. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much.
It's a delight to be here.
Yeah.
I like your look.
Thank you very much.
Okay. After 22 years of democracy, how would you say Nigeria has fared, taking into cognizance some indices like growth in the agri sector, the tech advancement, power, and transportation, and all of those?
Well, for me, the major gain that we've made as a country is that we've not had an interrupted democracy. We've not had incidences of, the military incursion into our democracy. So we've been able to sustain democracy for a very long time. So that in itself
It's an achievement.
It's an achievement
Yeah,
compared to other African nations where we've had military interventions and so on. So that is a big plus for me. Then you also look at the this technological sector. Prior to 1999, Nigeria never had the GSM phones. During Obasanjo's time, we saw a revolution in that sector, and today we can comfortably make use of mobile phones, even though many might say, oh, it is not really something laudable, but it is. It is. Back then, it was a great giant stride. And today we can see the advances that has been made over the years. Just last week, Nigeria launched our own indigenous mobile phone, which is a big plus. That means that Nigeria is now a hub of mobile phone production, yes. And I believe the product can compete with other brands effectively in the globe if it is given the requisite push that it requires. Then we also talk about the payment systems that we have, the flutter waves and so on. So lots of giant strides has been made in the technologies, in the IT sector. Of course, we all know that we have many IT companies that is being operated by several Nigerians. Most Nigerians are raking in revenue from IT. And it's been credited to Nigerians that this global cryptocurrency, the technological gurus in the world are giving lots of credit to Nigerians for, making it visible, interacting with the platform, and even teaching others on how to use cryptocurrency.
Actually, second or third.
Even though it's been controversial in Nigeria, the government is frowning at it because they believe that the NSAS protest was financed using cryptocurrency. That is why they are trying to demarket it. But globally, it is a force to reckon with. Yes, it might have experienced some hiccups, but many are of the opinion that it is going to bounce back. Then the agricultural sector, a lot has been done. This is one of the reasons why we hailed the addition of the AFDB, Akinwumi Adesina. He transformed the agricultural sector. He brought technology to bear in agricultural business, and based on his accomplishment, it earned him that position, because if he had accomplished nothing, I'm not sure they are going to give him that global platform to be the president.
Maybe you'll take a pause here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, also building on what he has said, let me start with the technology. He has talked about flutter wave. There's also paystack. The fact that we can now have international investors come into this country and say, I am paying $200 million in order to join your business, it means that, oh, they are geniuses in the field, they are diamonds in the rough. There are a lot of Nigerians who have been put because of how smart they are in order to work with a lot of investors abroad, work on programs, work on even AI, artificial intelligence. Nigerians are doing very, very
Excellently
heavily
well.
on it. When it comes to agriculture, he mentioned Mr. Adeshino, who has been handsomely rewarded. Another person who has not really been praised that way, maybe because of his age, was Audu Ogbe.
Yeah.
Audu Ogbe is the first time that shows that, okay, a government, a member of a cabinet in a political party will rely on the achievements of the previous cabinet member in a rival political party. It is in our agricultural sector that we didn't see the rivalry of, okay, the other people were totally bad and throw them away. He built on it, and he did well.
Continuity.
Continuity. Of course, because of his age, maybe he was not rewarded with international recognitions and all. We should also talk about Nigerians who are making waves globally. Globally. Of course, the Nigerian has been appointed Deputy Treasury Secretary in the United States. A Nigerian is currently heading the Trade Organization of the World. A Nigerian is currently the deputy head of the UN. A Nigerian is the head of...
A 22-year-old Nigerian won the council election a few days ago.
So just count it. We can also talk about the heydays. There are still heydays now. Nigerians are still making waves. Nigerians are still doing well. And I think that we ought to be praised.
Like you rightly said, these are applaudable achievements that regardless of everything that is happening, people are quick to forget that, look, Nigerians are actually outstanding in these several fields. You talked about Flutterwave and the tech industry. We see Nigerians doing so well. Now, in the midst of all these achievements, there's still being, Ojen, I'm asking you, there's being this clamor and agitation for constitutional review. People feel like the 1999 Constitution is the challenge that we have in this country. Now, is there a particular way, like a legal way, constitutionally, to address that problem? Could that be true that the problem or the challenge, the source of the problem, is the 1999 Constitution?
Okay, there are different parts of the Constitution, and a lot of people erroneously try to touch on the inoperative part of the Constitution as the problem with the Constitution. I will start with the popular cliche. We, the people of Nigeria, hereby give up to ourselves the Constitution, which is called Decree 24. Some people prefer to call it Decree 24. It's not an operative part of the Constitution, but I'll come back to it. And I would like to really do a bit of home cleaning with this. Let me give a basic. The major problem with this country is not the Constitution of the country. It is the operators of the Constitution. If we have the best Constitution in the country, and we don't have the proper people to man it, I don't think we'll be in a very, very good place. That's number one. That's my general basics. I am not going to say there are no challenges with the Constitution. There are challenges with the Constitution, and we should single out those challenges and take care of them. That's number two. Number three, as a person who has studied various constitutions, including the American Constitution, I dare say that our Constitution is one of the best, except for the power distributions. Maybe federal government to state governments and all.
That is a major issue. That is a major issue because I don't tend to agree with your narrative.
Wait.
Because I believe that the
Constitution, it is an expert.
I'm also an expert.
You know, Namdi,
Yes.
Don't worry. You just calm down a bit. When it's done,
Analysis.
You know, I don't really see
American
why
Constitution-
you should sing praises of the
American
faulty
Constitution-
Constitution.
The American Constitution, for example, has had 25 amendments.
Yes.
And that tells me that, okay, there are always things to do. When you encounter challenges, you can always fix it. And because of my depth in constitutional research, I can boldly tell you that one of the only constitutions that can only be genuine and that is made by the people of the place. It's the American people. And you have to see the way they came together. It is people who were angry from England against King George III, people from Ireland, people from Italy, people from, so it's an amalgamation of every set of persons, and they killed themselves.
So there was no selfishness in the redrafting of this
There was
particular
no,
constitution.
in the American Constitution,
Yes.
there was no selfishness. They had fathers whom they could trust. And because of that time, even till now, they are still having challenges with the interpretation of the Constitution. They talk about the Second Amendment. The Democrats and the Republicans will never ever agree on what the Second Amendment means, which is the right to bear arms. Is it for vigilantes to protect themselves, or for every average civilian to have assault rifles? And that's why they're having carnage problems, where a person just wakes up in the morning and just goes into a mall and kills 200 people. Because of the interpretation of that provision of the Constitution, which they are scared of touching. The Nigerian Constitution is so clear. Let me go to the ridiculous now. The UK does not even have a constitution at all. Yeah, they are doing so well compared to us when it comes to maybe rule of law and all. The only constitution that we can say is close to being made by the people of Nigeria since independence is the 1963 Constitution. Because even the 1960 Constitution was made when Nigeria was not Nigeria.
Okay.
Please, sir, let me just say this one more thing. And when people say, let's go back to the 1963 Constitution, we're talking about regionalism, it is like saying that, okay, this person was great at 3 years old. He's 27 now. Let him go back to 2
I disagree with you.
Okay, wait,
I disagree
no,
with that.
no,
I
also-
completely disagree
wait.
with that analogy.
I will allow you to
Yes.
talk about your disagreement.
Yeah.
But also, as a follow-up to that, the president did allude to the reform of the constitution in his statement, even though we're still going to show, in his address rather, we're going to show the address, when he did say that we should allow the National Assembly to do that. After all, that body is saddled with the responsibility of reforming the constitution. But
Yeah.
please make your comment. And
Now, yes, the president made that comment. And the reason why he made that comment is because lots of Nigerians, they've been calling for restructuring. And many Nigerians, they've also been calling for us to go back to the 1963 Constitution. Again, we've had several national conferences. There are recommendations made by these conferences. So the president coming out to make, well, that's what he's going to say as the president. He's going to engage in buck passing by shelving the responsibility to the National Assembly. But we know that that the executive also has a will to push for such
Reforms.
for such reforms. You know, because if you look at the 1999 Constitution, the 1999 Constitution vested so much power, you know, to the executive arm. Not just the executive arm, to the federal government. That's the right word.
at the expense,
At the expense of the component parts, like the states. States are supposed to exercise certain level of autonomy when it comes to the economy, even in the general control of their region or state, whether they decide to adopt the state system or the regional system. The states are meant to have autonomy in terms of economy, in terms of security, and that is what the nation is gradually metamorphosing into. Today we are talking of Amoteku. Today we are talking of Ebubago. Some time ago, even in the north, we have the civilian JTF. That means that states are taking the initiative to create a sort of state police, which has been very, very controversial in time past. Abubakar Malami kicked against it when the Amoteku Security Initiative came up. He kicked against